The chick is only days old. To live, it must jump. The cliff is over 400 feet high. The tiny body hits the rocks. Each impact could be its last. But it moves. Against all odds, it made it. Barnacle geese are some of the coolest birds out there. They look amazing with their black and white feathers that make them stand out wherever they go. Every year, they travel super long distances, flying all the way from the Arctic to Western Europe for the winter. Sometimes they fly in groups of thousands, and it looks like giant moving clouds in the sky. A long time ago, people had some funny ideas about these birds. Since no one ever saw their eggs or nests, they believed barnacle geese came from barnacles stuck to wood near the sea. People thought the barnacles slowly turned into birds and then flew away in the spring. It sounds wild, but back then it made sense to them. Why did they believe that? Because in Europe, people could never find their nests, eggs, or even see them mating. If I lived back then, I probably would have believed it too. After all, if you never see proof, your brain makes up its own answers. The real reason is that barnacle geese are super sneaky nesters. They lay their eggs way up on high cliffs, sometimes more than 400 feet off the ground. Their chicks hatch up there and then have to jump all the way down to the ground to follow their parents. It's risky, but that's just how these birds survive. Mother barnacle geese work really hard when taking care of their eggs. While sitting on the nest, a female can lose almost 30% of her body weight because she hardly eats. The eggs take about 25 to 28 days to hatch, and during that time she barely moves. She spends most of her time keeping the eggs warm and safe, only standing up for short moments to grab a quick bite or a sip of water. In the freezing mountains, many barnacle goose nests fail, but this mother managed to hatch 3 chicks. They were lucky to make it this far, but their biggest challenge is only just beginning. The parents built their nest on top of a 400-foot cliff. At first, this might look like a crazy choice, but it's the best way to stay safe from predators like Arctic foxes, which love to steal eggs and eat young goslings. The problem is food. Baby geese can't survive more than 36 hours without eating, and the grass they need is all the way down by the river, almost a mile away. Parents can't bring food back to the nest, so the only option is for the chicks to leave. But here's the catch: they can't fly yet. It takes about a month for their wings to grow strong enough for flight. For now, they only have fluffy down feathers and rely on their parents for warmth and protection. So there's only one way to reach food: they have to jump. At their mother's call, the first chick bravely leaps off the 400-foot cliff. It falls fast, hitting the rocks and ground with a heavy thud. For a moment, it looks like the little goose is gone, but amazingly, it survives. Stunned and shaky, it lies exposed on the ground, waiting for its parents to reach it. Ravens are known to prey on these goslings. While barnacle geese are protective parents, they cannot defend their young against all predators. Ravens are clever and opportunistic hunters, and this time it was able to snatch this gosling from the ground even though mother tried to save it. One chick taken. Now hope rests with the other 2 on the top of the pinnacle. The second chick jumped from the back of the cliff. It is a shorter drop, but it's much harder to avoid the rocks. With that many hits on the rocks, this chick also did not survive. The third and last chick jumps courageously from the edge of the cliff, hitting the rocks many times, and it ends up on the snow. The snow cushions the impact, but with no grip, the chick keeps falling, and its parents have joined it on the way. Fortunately, the chick survived, and now will be able to feed on the grass with its parents. Less than 50% of chicks hatched on the cliffs will make it through the first month. Life on the cliffs can be harsh and unforgiving, with limited food and water sources and the constant threat of predators. Despite these challenges, barnacle geese have evolved to thrive in this environment, and their ability to adapt and persevere in the face of adversity is a testament to the resilience of nature. They are known for their distinctive honking calls, which can be heard echoing across their breeding grounds. While their calling behavior may sound strange to human ears, it's actually a critical part of their social communication and bonding. These calls help geese stay together in flocks, warn each other of danger, and even encourage one another during their long migrations. This bird is monogamous, and they mate for life. During the breeding season, they will form a strong pair bond with a single mate, and they will return to the same nesting site each year to breed together. These nesting sites are often on steep cliffs or rocky ledges, far from predators like Arctic foxes. The loyalty between goose pairs is remarkable. If one mate dies, the other may remain alone for a long time before finding another partner. One interesting fact is that barnacle geese have a unique migration route that takes them from their breeding grounds in the Arctic down to their wintering grounds in Western Europe. Some populations breed in Greenland, Svalbard, or Arctic Russia, and then travel thousands of kilometers south. Along the way, they make a stopover on the island of Svalbard in the Norwegian Arctic, where they molt their flight feathers and are unable to fly for several weeks. During this time, they are vulnerable to predators like Arctic foxes and gulls, and they must rely on nearby food sources to survive. Despite this danger, the molting period is essential because it allows the geese to grow strong new feathers for the next stage of their migration. Once their feathers have regrown, they continue their journey to their wintering grounds in places like the coasts of Scotland, Ireland, and the Netherlands, where they will spend the rest of the year feeding on grasses, grains, and farmland crops. They've got incredible navigational abilities, which allow them to migrate over long distances to their breeding and wintering grounds. Researchers have discovered that these birds rely on a variety of cues to navigate, including celestial cues such as the position of the sun and stars, the Earth's magnetic field, and even visual landmarks such as coastlines, rivers, and mountain ranges. What's more, barnacle geese can recognize and remember landscapes they've seen before, allowing them to return to the exact same nesting sites year after year. In fact, studies have shown that young barnacle geese learn their migratory routes directly from their parents. On their very first migration, the goslings follow the flock and memorize the path, ensuring that they can make the journey on their own in the future. Even without clear visual landmarks, they are able to navigate with amazing accuracy. This remarkable skill is just one example of the many adaptations that barnacle geese have developed in order to survive and thrive in their challenging environment. Despite facing threats from predators, harsh climates, and the dangers of migration, barnacle geese continue to flourish. Their story is not only one of endurance, but also of family loyalty, teamwork, and the incredible instincts that guide them across some of the harshest landscapes on Earth. Another beautiful and fascinating bird on our list is the hooded merganser, a small and eye-catching duck found across North America. What makes them stand out instantly is the male's bold black and white crest, which can fan out like a hood to impress females during courtship. These ducks are often spotted in wooded ponds, rivers, and wetlands, diving gracefully beneath the surface to catch fish, insects, and crustaceans. Breeding season begins in late winter, with males arriving first to claim the best territories. They perform elaborate displays, raising their crests, shaking their heads, and calling loudly to attract females. Once paired, the female chooses a tree cavity or nest box, often far above the ground, where she will lay her eggs. Like barnacle geese, hooded merganser ducklings make a daring leap shortly after hatching. Within just 24 hours of breaking free from their shells, the mother calls to them from below. One by one, the tiny chicks leap out of the nest, which can be up to 50 feet high. Despite the fall, the chicks usually land unharmed thanks to their small size and light, fluffy bodies. Unlike many other duck species that hatch covered in thick down and are ready to walk and feed, hooded merganser ducklings are far more delicate. They have very little feathering at first, and they cannot feed themselves right away. The mother leads them quickly to the nearest pond, river, or lake, where the young can begin swimming almost immediately. Under her guidance, they learn how to dive beneath the water's surface, chasing insects, small fish, and tiny aquatic creatures. Wood ducklings share a similar fate with hooded mergansers, as they too leap from their nest cavity just a day or two after hatching. Wood ducks are cavity-nesting birds, often choosing natural tree hollows high above the ground. Sometimes their nests can be as much as 60 feet up in the air. To make the cavity more comfortable, the female plucks soft down feathers from her own breast and lines the nest, creating a warm and safe cradle for her eggs. Once the eggs hatch, the mother wood duck wastes no time in getting her chicks moving. She calls from outside the cavity, and the tiny ducklings, still only a day old, respond instinctively. One by one, they scramble to the edge and launch themselves into the air. The fall may look terrifying, but their small, lightweight bodies and soft down help cushion the impact when they hit the ground. After all the ducklings have made their jump, the mother leads them on their first journey, a determined march to the nearest pond, lake, or river. It can sometimes take hours, and the tiny chicks must cross rough terrain, dodging dangers along the way. Once they reach the water, the ducklings begin swimming almost immediately. Unlike many birds, they don't need to be taught how. It's instinct. But this daring leap and march to water is also the most dangerous part of their young lives. On the ground, the chicks are highly vulnerable to predators such as snakes, raccoons, hawks, and snapping turtles. For this reason, the instinct to leap and reach water quickly is critical to their survival. The water provides both safety and food, as the ducklings learn to dabble for plants, insects, and small aquatic creatures under their mother's watchful eye. Despite the risks, this nesting strategy has worked for generations. By nesting high above the ground, wood ducks protect their eggs from many predators, and the dangerous-looking jump is simply nature's clever way of getting the ducklings safely to the water. Goldeneye ducklings share this same breathtaking tradition of leaping from great heights. When common goldeneye ducklings hatch, they are covered in a full layer of warm down feathers. This down keeps them insulated against the chilly air of their northern habitats. Within just a day or two of hatching, the young are ready to leave the safety of their nest cavity and follow their mother to the water. Goldeneyes are cavity nesters, often using old woodpecker holes or natural tree hollows near lakes and rivers. These nests can be surprisingly high, sometimes 40 to 60 feet above the ground. When the time comes, the mother calls from below, urging her ducklings to make the leap. One by one, the tiny chicks scramble to the edge and plunge into the air, bouncing and tumbling until they reach the ground. Remarkably, they are rarely injured, thanks to their small size, light bodies, and protective down. This dramatic behavior is more than just instinct, it's a vital survival strategy. The forest floor can be a dangerous place for young ducklings, with predators like raccoons, snakes, and even foxes waiting for an easy meal. By leaving the nest quickly and making a direct dash for water, the ducklings reduce their chances of being caught. The water provides both food and safety, as goldeneye ducklings are natural swimmers and divers almost from the moment they arrive. Under their mother's guidance, they soon begin feeding on aquatic insects, crustaceans, and plants. Although the dramatic leaps of wood ducks and hooded mergansers are often more famous, goldeneye ducklings deserve just as much admiration for their courage. Watching a brood of tiny, down-covered chicks fling themselves from a towering tree cavity is a powerful reminder of how wildlife has adapted to survive. It is nature's way of ensuring that the vulnerable young reach the environment where they stand the best chance of growing strong. Another remarkable example comes from the frozen wilderness of Antarctica, where emperor penguin chicks face one of the harshest survival challenges of any bird on Earth. Emperor penguins are unique because they breed in the middle of the Antarctic winter, when temperatures can plunge below -60 degrees Celsius and brutal winds sweep across the ice. The female lays a single egg before returning to the sea to feed, leaving the male in charge. For over 2 months, the devoted father balances the egg on top of his feet, covering it with a special brood pouch to keep it warm. During this entire time, he eats nothing and survives solely on fat reserves. When the chick hatches, it is tiny, fragile, and covered in a thin layer of down that offers little protection from the extreme cold. Its survival depends almost entirely on the warmth of its father's pouch and the ability of the adult males to huddle together in enormous groups, taking turns shielding one another from the deadly Antarctic winds. But the challenges don't end there. Once the mothers return from the sea, carrying food in their stomachs for the chicks, the young penguins must still endure months of freezing temperatures while they grow. They gradually spend more time outside their parents' pouches, learning to withstand the cold and gathering together in groups known as creches for warmth and protection. Predators such as skuas and giant petrels constantly patrol the colony's edges, waiting for an unguarded chick. On the ice, only unity and vigilance keep the young safe. Survival is a daily battle, but for those that endure, the reward is reaching the open sea where they will learn to swim, hunt fish, and eventually begin the cycle again. The killdeer is a small plover, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in courage. These birds often build their nests right on open ground, gravel paths, fields, even near human houses. With no trees or cover to hide their eggs, danger is everywhere. Foxes, raccoons, snakes, and even stray dogs could easily spot and eat their eggs or chicks. But the killdeer has evolved a remarkable way to protect its young. When a predator gets too close, the parent doesn't run away or fight head-on. Instead, it performs one of the most dramatic survival tricks in the bird world, the broken wing act. The parent throws itself on the ground, flapping one wing awkwardly, dragging itself along the dirt, and calling loudly as if it were injured. To the predator, this looks like an easy meal. The fox or dog instantly loses interest in the hidden chicks and starts following the injured adult. Step by step, the killdeer leads the predator farther and farther away from the nest, limping and fluttering just out of reach. The chase continues, the parent risking its own life until the chicks are safely out of danger. Then, in a flash, the killdeer takes off into the air, perfectly healthy. The predator is left confused, while the chicks remain hidden and unharmed. This act is incredibly dangerous for the parent. If the predator is fast or persistent, the bird could easily be caught. Yet killdeer do it every time without hesitation. To them, protecting the next generation is worth everything, even their own lives. On the high sea cliffs, thousands of guillemots gather to raise their chicks. These birds don't build nests at all. Instead, the mother lays a single egg right on the bare rock. The egg is shaped like a pear, so it doesn't roll off the cliff, but life here is still very risky. Before the chick even hatches, danger is close by. Ravens patrol the cliffs, always watching. If a parent leaves for even a moment, a raven can swoop down and steal an egg. One small mistake, and the parents lose their only chance to raise a chick that year. If the egg survives, the chick hatches and grows quickly. But at just 3 weeks old, it faces its biggest test. The father calls from the sea below, and the chick must jump from the cliff even though it still can't fly. The fall can be hundreds of feet, and some chicks slam into rocks on the way down. Luckily, their fluffy feathers soften the blow and most survive. But the cliffs are full of danger. Seagulls circle overhead, ready to snatch a chick out of the air or off the rocks. On the ground, foxes prowl, waiting for an easy meal. Only the fastest and luckiest chicks make it past these hunters. If a chick manages to land in the ocean, it finds its father waiting. The father will guide it far out to sea, feeding it fish until it is strong enough to survive alone. On a lonely island in the middle of the ocean, a pair of albatrosses prepares to raise their chick. These birds are huge, with wings that can stretch more than 11 feet across, the biggest wingspan of any bird in the world. The mother lays a single egg, and then the real challenge begins. One parent must stay to guard and warm the egg, while the other flies out to sea to hunt for food. But hunting for an albatross isn't just a quick trip. They may soar for thousands of miles, sometimes gone for weeks, gliding over stormy waves and through harsh winds, searching for squid and fish. Finally, when the hunting parent returns, they trade places. The other adult takes off across the endless ocean. This back-and-forth teamwork continues until the chick finally hatches. Even then, the danger is far from over. The chick must survive long months alone on the nest while its parents travel across the seas. Giant skuas and frigate birds fly overhead, always ready to steal an egg or grab a defenseless chick. But albatross parents are fierce defenders, chasing away intruders with loud calls and snapping beaks. As the chick grows, it becomes stronger, covered in soft, fluffy down. The parents keep feeding it huge meals of regurgitated fish and squid until it is finally ready for the greatest leap of its life, its first flight. Standing on the cliff edge, the young albatross spreads its enormous wings for the very first time. With a sudden rush, it launches into the air and glides over the waves below. From that moment on, it will live mostly at sea, traveling thousands of miles and only returning years later to the very same island where it was born, to start the cycle again. That concludes our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to your Top 10s for more videos. Thank you for watching.